Hey everyone, Hybertour Reviews here, and oh man, do I have a discussion topic today. More or less, it's just an update for a type of content that I like to do, which is my convention recap. This is what I got, this is how my time was. Um, yeah, as some of you know, if you watch a lot of my content, pretty much about once every 2 months I'm at a Comic Con, and then I'll get back and I'll just show off what I got. And one of the conventions I have regularly gone to for the last several years is Steel City Con. And as you might guess from the title, I'm not happy. So I figured I'd show off some stuff I've gotten from Steel City Con over the years. I've been going since the December of 2017 show where they had James and Oliver Phelps, Jonathan Frakes, LeVar Burton. They got me in the door with Steel City Con. It was my second ever Comic Con after Florida SuperCon 2017, where I met Peter Capaldi. I went back the next year, like in April. Money was tight, but I had to meet Ian McDiarmid, had to meet the Emperor, you know. But like back in those days, you'd be at that great old Monroeville Convention Center, and the guest list would be like 10 to 15 people, and you'd have like the Emperor and then a bunch of side people. You never had main characters of the show. You'd have your villains like the Emperor. You'd have your Weasley twins. You'd have your Star Trek Next Generation actors before they were relevant again because of Picard. And it would be like, man, it was doable. You'd go and you could walk around and have a good time on the vendor floor and get all the autographs you wanted and stick around for a couple hours, and man, you had a good time. But now, and especially since this whole COVID shut down everything, man, they are just maxing it out. You used to get 15 or so guests in the draw that would have in that little convention center, that little small town convention center. And then now they're getting like 30, 40 guests every go around, and they're going for big names. They're trying to get Chevy Chase, who I don't know who that is. I haven't watched those vacation movies, but the convention has just such a focus on those films now. But they're getting Chevy Chase, and they're getting Steve from Blue's Clues, and they're getting a big Cobra Kai reunion, and they're just doing, all these big groups at the same time, and they're getting Gaten Matarazzo from Stranger Things, the best of the kids, let's be fair. And they're trying to do that, and they're getting all these crowds there, and it's miserable. And, I don't like going to Steel City Con anymore. And there was an interaction on their fan forum. God, that fan forum is just terrible. But their Facebook group, Steel City Con Fan Forum, where, they definitely don't control what goes on there, except they do filter your posts. If you post, the admin has to approve it. Because you're not allowed to talk bad about Steel City Con in the fan forum. You're not allowed to talk to the fans about what you do and don't like. But, there was an interaction I was involved in, like, man, it was right when it started getting kind of bad. And someone had posted, hey, why don't we, go to another, venue? And people had kind of been kicking that around for a while. There's that David Lawrence Convention Center down there, which is way bigger, way more spacious, and it's actually in Pittsburgh. It's not in Monroeville. Why are you guys calling yourself Steel City when you're in Monroeville? But I digress there. But, and they're just like giving us all these like excuses, the tickets would have to go up. And I finally just said, man, I just wish they would say that they're not going to. And they finally replied, they're like, we're not going to. And I'm like, man, like that sucks. And I've gone back a few times. And the guest selection has greatly dropped away from like a Comic-Con type focus. They're more like a pop culture con now. I have only once met a Doctor Who guest there, which is like my favorite science fiction TV, and it was completely an accident. If they knew she was in Doctor Who, I'm sure they wouldn't have had her, because it was Catherine Tate, and they were like, meet Catherine Tate from The Office, who's like everyone's least favorite character on The Office. She was like a last season edition, and so that's where I got my Donna Noble autograph up there. But that was a complete fluke. I've got some Star Trek, some Harry Potter, like 2 Star Wars autographs while there, and I'm okay with those. But man, the last time that I've gone for like a science fiction type autograph has been a minute. I met Will Wheaton there earlier this year, and he's been like my only sci-fi guy there for some time. This weekend I was thinking about going, and I actually bought stuff I wanted to get signed. I have a Johnny Lawrence Cobra Kai Funko. I've wanted to meet Will Zabka for a bit. I got into Cobra Kai and the Karate Kid in the last year and a half. I thought he'd be a really cool one to meet. And they have Steve from Blue's Clues. And let me tell you, I've wanted to meet Steve from Blue's Clues since I was 2 years old. So this is like a 23-year pipe dream at this point. And I woke up in the morning and I was like, man, do I go? Oh, man, I would, but it's Steel City Con. You know how when you don't like your job and you wake up in the morning and your first thought is not, today's going to be a day of work. Your first thought is, let me call out every day. And usually that kind of means that, your time there's going to wrap up because you're going to start looking for a new one anyway. That's how I felt for the last several Steel City Cons. I wake up for Fan Expo Cleveland or GalaxyCon Columbus and I am hyped. I wake up an hour early before the alarm. I'm just ready to roll. Steel City Con is worse than going to work. You are in this building that cannot handle everyone. You are just elbow to elbow. It's like you're in a can of sardines. There's 3 lines out front. There's your 3-day half-hour early access, get in the door. There's your VIP half-hour early access. And there's us common people who don't pay for extras access line. And they don't tell you what line is which, and there's no one out there directing you. So your first 2 hours in the parking lot are just miserable. They only have 100 parking spaces, otherwise you have to park a mile down the road at the mall. And it's just not the vibe. I don't enjoy Steel City Con. I haven't in some time. I am washing my hands. I have stopped following their social media. I'm probably going to sprinkle this on some of their posts though, just to try and get the word out. I don't recommend anyone go to Steel City Con. I recommend you go to any other convention in the area. I don't know who's running Philadelphia right now. Is that Fan Expo? I know there's Fan Expo Cleveland. There's GalaxyCon Columbus. And sure, those are only once a year. But you know what? If you're from Pittsburgh, yeah, they're a drive too. But I think your money would be better spent there, and you're going to have a much more enjoyable time there. I can't recommend this. I mean, I was hearing, because again, I didn't go. I was seeing posts on the fan forum, a couple of complaints did make their way through, believe it or not, about how, basically fire code got met, and, they weren't going to sell tickets at the door, which, to be fair, you should pre-purchase your tickets to any of these events, because that's always a possibility. But, man, fire code should be, the absolute most extreme end of tickets you're willing to sell. Because fire code just means that is the maximum amount of people you can have in the building before they trample each other getting out because it's on fire. That is the most extreme situation. Being at max fire code does not mean everyone is in there comfortably. And so that's where I'm at. It's greedy, it's negligent, and they're a business. Of course they care about making money more than making us happy, but making us happy is what makes us come back. I have spent who knows how much money. These are not all of my Steel City Con autographs. These are my favorite autographs I've gotten at Steel City Con. Assuming this video doesn't get me banned for having a bad opinion, because I've had that happen before at events. The only way I will ever return to Steel City Con is if they go to that David Lawrence Convention Center or an equally larger building. People have been telling them forever, do it. And they always say, well, the tickets would go up. Your ticket's $30 when you do your pre-sale before the month of. I'd spend $100 for a ticket if it was in a bigger venue where I knew I wasn't going to have to do this to not be, bumping into people walking down aisles. If you're going to get more people, if you're going to try and push for more vendors, if you're going to try and get a bigger draw, the building needs to grow. It's not bigger on the inside. It's not going to grow because, we've got more people that'd like to come. Okay, the building just grew 10 feet. No, that's not how it works. You have to get a bigger building. So, I'm done. Steel City Con. I'd say it's been nice, but I'm not a liar. So, it's been a time. A not so great time. I'm going to go work on videos that would make me happy to talk about, because, to be honest with you, I love Comic-Con. I love going to these things. And it sucks. It just sucks. I'm not happy about this. It sucks. There's no joy in making this video. It just sucks. It used to be fun, and now it's not. So that's where I leave you. I've washed my hands. I sure can't wait to be rolled on their fan forum about how, he doesn't like Steel City Con? Yeah, and you shouldn't either. So, I'm going to go. I'll catch you all later. Bye.